Okay. Okay, all right. Hello everyone, welcome to Lukmaan IAS. Today we are going to have the Hindu newspaper analysis dated 8th of July 2023. So let us quickly look into those topics that are important for the prelims exam and for the mains exam from the newspaper today. So these are the articles that we are going to discuss for the day. Yeah. So these are the articles that we are going to discuss for the day. Like I have taken 8 articles for you. So the first article, it was there in the editorial page. It says the long road to finding true peace in Yemen. So this particular topic is important under international relations. It is part of GS paper 2 of mains exam. Okay. So this was there in editorial section. We are going to discuss this topic in detail. We are going to understand about what is the Yemen crisis, what is the role of Saudi Arabia there, what is the role of Iran, who are Houthi rebels, like what is India's stake over there. We are going to discuss all of it in this article. Then the next topic is, it says sobriety after euphoria in the US state visit. So this topic is also important under international relations. It is also part of GS paper 2 of the mains exam, and in this topic we are also going to discuss some important concepts related to, let's say, prelims exam. We are going to discuss about some nuclear agreements between India and United States of America. We are going to discuss about US state visit by the head of the state, and we are going to take into account, many prime ministers of India and the presidents of the United States of America. So this topic is also very important for the mains exam. Apart from this, the third topic, it says Jammu and Kashmir administration hardens its stand on land to landless scheme. Okay. So this topic is important for the prelims exam under current affairs section, and we are going to discuss about a government scheme which is known as land to the landless. We are going to understand what this scheme is all about, and we are going to understand what is the push from the central government to implement this scheme in the Union Territory of Jammu and Kashmir, and why many leaders, like local leaders in the Union Territory of Jammu and Kashmir, are opposing this particular scheme of the government. Okay. So this is important. This was there in page number 4 of the Hindu newspaper. After this, we are going to talk about another topic that says selective ban of messaging apps may be looked at, and this was said by Telecom Regulatory Authority of India. We are going to discuss about the role of Telecom Regulatory Authority of India, and we are going to discuss in detail about over-the-top platforms. We are going to discuss like what is what is there about selective ban. Okay. So this is an important topic. That topic was important for the prelims exam, and we are going to talk about the regulatory bodies. Okay. Regulatory bodies under current affairs section. Okay. Then the next topic, it says words like fake, false, misleading in the IT rules is problematic. So we are going to talk about like what is there in the IT rules. Okay. So the government of India has amended some of the IT rules in 2023. We are going to talk about that amended rule, what is its name, what it intends to achieve, and what recently, like one of the high courts in India has talked about this particular rule. So we are going to talk about the stand of the high courts with respect to the IT rules 2023 that was amended recently by the government. Okay. So this topic is also important because it relates to current affairs section. It may be important for the prelims exam and also for the mains exam of UPSC CSE. Apart from this, we are going to talk about SEBI. SEBI stands for Securities and Exchange Board of India. So SEBI amends rules to avoid multiple filings by debt issuers. So in this article, we are going to discuss about what are debt issuers in India, who are debt issuers. We are going to talk about how they issue debts and like on what platforms they issue debts, and what is the role of Securities and Exchange Board of India in this regard. We are going to discuss in detail about this particular topic. It is important for the prelims exam generally, and we are going to discuss about the regulatory body, okay, regulatory body which is Securities and Exchange Board of India. This topic is important under economy section, okay, Indian economy section. After this, we are going to discuss this topic which says government to share PM Gati Shakti data. Okay, government has PM Gati Shakti is a portal, and here government is thinking about sharing geospatial data with some of the stakeholders. We are going to understand what do we mean by geospatial data. We will understand what is the role of investors in accessing the geospatial data and what government wants to achieve by sharing these data. Okay. After this, so this topic is important for the prelims exam at this point of time. It is important under current affairs section. After this, we are going to discuss about another topic that says almost half of the workers in India do not feel secure in jobs. So recently there was a report that was published by one very good organization, and that report has talked about why people are feeling insecure at workplaces, why they are feeling insecure at job in India and globally. We are going to talk about what is the name of this particular report. We are going to talk about which organization releases this report. We are also going to talk about some of the highlights related to job insecurity among the worker class, right, in India and across the world. So these are the topics that we are going to discuss in detail today. So just stay tuned, and we are going to start discussing with the editorial topic itself. So let's start the discussion with the first topic of the day. This topic says the long road to finding true peace in Yemen. Okay, the long road to finding true peace in Yemen. So this article has been written by this person, Talmiz Ahmad. He is a former diplomat, means he is a former Indian Foreign Services officer, okay, IFS officer. Many of you may be willing to join Indian Foreign Services, and for them it is very important article, because this will give you an understanding about foreign policy of India. You will understand some international relation related topic, and in this article we are going to discuss about Yemen. Okay, so Yemen is the name of a country. This particular country is there in the Arabian Peninsula. Okay, in the Arabian Peninsula, the southernmost country over there, okay, is Yemen. And if we talk about what is happening in Yemen, why do we want to achieve true peace in Yemen? To understand that aspect, we need to have an understanding about what has been happening in Yemen from, let's say, from last 8 years, since 2015. Okay, so Yemen is a country, right? Yemen is a country that has been witnessing civil war. Civil war in the sense people are fighting among themselves. There are different power groups inside the country, and these power groups are struggling to to get power, right? Get power. And some of the those regional parties, some of the parties are being backed by the foreign countries also. Okay, there are many foreign powers that are let's say assisting, helping one party to let's say drive away the other party. So this has been happening in Yemen for a long time. And in 2015, the Saudi Arabia. So first of all, before I enter into discussion about Yemen, you should be having a picture where is Yemen located, what issue we are talking about. Okay, so I'll share that picture with you. So once you go through the map of Yemen, only then we are going to discuss in detail about it, so that you can understand. So this is the map of Yemen. Okay, so highlighted portion over here. Okay, highlighted portion from this particular area to this particular area is name of a country, Yemen. And this particular country is there in Arabian Peninsula. It is there in the southern portion of Saudi Arabian Peninsula. So there are some geographical features also that is important for us to understand, because in prelims exam in 2023 prelims itself, UPSC has asked many map based question. And so if we give a detailed, let's say, view into the maps of those areas that has been in news, it will greatly help us in solving questions related to map based topics. Okay, so like this is just broadly so for your understanding that this is the map of Yemen, and inside Yemen map itself you can see like various regions are there, various colors have been given. These colors have been given to highlight which portion of the country is under rule of which particular power, which group. For example, Houthis, then Southern Transitional Council, then we have joint forces. I mean, like there are multiple parties that are involved in Yemen. Okay, so Yemen is not at a peaceful, like at a peaceful situation globally now. Yemen, people from Yemen, I mean, like many people in Yemen have died because of hunger, okay, because of the civil war issues that has been happening. But apart from this, we need to understand some important geographical features related to Yemen. I am going to discuss those geographical features with you first, so that you get an insight how do we solve a question in the prelims exam. Okay, so this is, let's say, like this is the geography of Yemen. You see, this is the geography of Yemen, this is the boundary of Yemen, and here we have a strait which is named as Bab el Mandeb. Okay, name of the strait is Bab el Mandeb. This is a strait. Strait is a geographical feature. I mean, like it is a narrow passage of water, narrow channel of water, that connects two big water bodies. And straits are also known as those water channels, water bodies that separate two big land masses. Okay, so where is Bab el Mandeb located? It is located like nearby this, I mean Yemen. Okay, between Yemen and Djibouti. So Djibouti is a country in, let's say, Africa. Okay, so between them there is like this particular strait which is known as Bab el Mandeb. Apart from this, to the western portion of Yemen, we have a sea which is known as Red Sea. Okay, Yemen does have a coastal line, coastal boundary with Red Sea. Apart from this, if we see, there is a Gulf also. This Gulf is known as Gulf of Aden. Name of the Gulf is Gulf of Aden. Apart from this, Arabian Sea, I mean like Yemen also has coastal boundary with Arabian Sea. You see, means like many water bodies. Okay, many water bodies are connected with Yemen. Okay, these are Red Sea, Arabian Sea, Gulf of Aden, and also Bab el Mandeb. This particular information may be helpful for you in solving a question in the prelims exam. Apart from this, like if you see this right side map over here, it has been, let's say, like given two colors, Yemen Arab Republic and People's Democratic Republic of Yemen. I mean, like this is a map that was available online. I will make you understand this particular thing. So one portion of it is under the ruling of one party, other is under the ruling of other big player. Okay, so let us now go back to the article to understand it, because by now you might have understood, like where is Yemen located, why we are talking about Yemen. So let's discuss about this topic in detail now. All right. So in this article, the diplomat, okay, the former diplomat, he has talked about like the long road to finding true peace in Yemen. Okay, so the author says that in 2015, what has happened, I mean, like there are certain groups. One of the group is known as Houthi. Okay, they are known as Houthi. So I'll make you understand about that particular thing. Okay, so we are discussing about Yemen. Okay, Yemen. One of the group is Houthi. They are known as rebel group. Okay, Houthi rebel group. And these Houthi people are being backed by Iran. They are being supported by Houthis are being supported by Iran. Apart from this, there is a Yemeni government also. Okay, Yemeni government. So this Yemeni government is trying to rule over Yemen legitimately by winning the elections. But like these Houthi people, they have been supported by one of the very powerful and big country in the Arabian Peninsula, that region, that is Iran. So these Houthi people, they tried to, let's say, capture some of the portions in Yemen. So what they have done is, like earlier they had captured capital of Yemen also, Sana'a. Okay, so they have gone over there. Then if we talk about Yemeni government, they are trying to rule over there, and to support the Yemeni government, what they have done, a coalition. Okay, a coalition means where many countries participate. Okay, many countries participate. So this coalition people, it was led by Saudi Arabia. Okay, Saudi Arabia leads a coalition of different different regional powers. So Saudi Arabia, what they have done, they have supported the Yemeni government to drive away the Houthi, the rebel group from Yemen. And these rebel group, because they were externally supported over there, and they are one of the powerful groups in Yemen, so they were able to, let's say, keep hold on very important areas in Yemen that include some of the port related areas also. So they have been able to capture important places, hold power over there. And it has been more than 8 years now. Okay, in 2015, the Saudi Arabia led coalition, they had started supporting the Yemeni government. They have been fighting the Houthi rebels. But so far, Saudi Arabia led coalition was not able to win over the Houthi rebels and other regional, let's say, dynamics over there. So that's why the Saudi Arabia has lost a huge amount of money over the last 8 years. They have, they have lost a huge amount of money in supporting this particular internal war that was happening in Yemen. Okay, it's not a war between different countries. It's something within the countries, different groups are trying to capture power, and those groups are supported by some external players. Okay, so external players include Saudi Arabia, that is supported by other countries also, then Houthi rebels that are being supported by Iran. So this was the thing that was happening over there. So a kind of regional dynamics was playing. And so Saudi Arabia, since they have lost a huge amount of money in supporting the internal warfare that was happening in Yemen, now, and Saudi Arabia led coalition, they feel like it is of less, less importance, or it is of less benefit for them. So these people are trying to come out of Yemen, but they want to come out of Yemen in such a manner so that people do not feel that they are defeated. They want to save their face, and at the same time they want to come out of that particular the internal tussle that is happening in Yemen. Okay, so this is what is happening. Now if we talk about what the author is talking here, now the author is saying that there has been death and destruction that is happening in Yemen. Okay, so death and destruction is happening, and Houthis, they are Shia militia, they represent marginalized Zaidi community which is aligned with Iran. So it is saying that these people, Houthi people have been able to capture good places, and they have been able to hold power in Yemen. And if we want to bring peace, let's say Saudi Arabia wants to bring peace in Yemen before leaving. So to bring peace, they have to shake hands. They have to come on the same table as the Houthi people, and they need to negotiate with them. And many rounds of consultation has already happened, right? Many rounds of consultation between Saudi-led coalition that supports the government in Yemen and the Houthi rebel, who are backed by Iran. So many rounds of negotiation has happened. They have signed truce pact also. Truce means a kind of negotiation where both the parties agree that henceforth, means from now onward, we are not going to fight with one another. We are going to maintain peace and stability in the region for so and so time. Okay, means let's say they sign a pact that for the next 12 months, for the next 6 months, we are not going to wage war against one another, and we are going to discuss and deliberate upon the, let's say, clauses related to bringing peace in the region. All right. So different parties are doing that particular thing, and here the Houthi people also have a kind of, let's say, a kind of demand from the from the Saudi Arabia led coalition, the demand in the form of supporting the Houthi people from the resources, from the oil resources that that Yemen that Yemen produces. Okay, so this thing has been happening, and this author talks about the internal thing that is happening over there. Okay, you need to read this article to understand about some of the places, and the places that I have showcased through the map, they are also mentioned in this article. For example, they have mentioned about island of Socotra, they have mentioned about Gulf of Aden, they have mentioned about Perim Island. Okay, so these places, okay, island of Socotra, Gulf of Aden, Perim Island, and Bab el Mandeb Strait, right? So these things are mentioned in this article. So you need to identify where these places are located, because these things will help you to solve questions for the prelims exam. Okay. Apart from this, for the mains exam, you need to have a broad idea, broad overview, like what is happening in different regions. Why? Because you might be knowing that when war was ongoing in Yemen, that time government of India has launched an operation to bring back Indian citizens, to bring back Indian nationals and Indian diaspora from Yemen, so that our people do not suffer, our people do not die in that particular region. So as a country, we do have responsibility towards our people, towards the people who are citizens of India, who are residing in India, and also towards the people who are citizens of India and residing elsewhere, and also Indian diaspora. Diaspora means those people who were Indian citizens or are Indian citizens and residing outside. So government of India has brought back Indian citizens from Yemen, and name of the operation that was conducted is known as Operation Rahat. Okay, what is the name of the operation? Name of the operation is Operation, okay, I am just writing it over here, Operation Rahat. Okay, so we have launched Operation Rahat to bring back Indian citizens. Like, we did not wage war against Saudi Arabia or Houthi or anyone. We are not interested in getting ourselves involved into their internal matters, but we are interested to save our citizens. We are interested to bring back our citizens safely from their territory. Okay, so this is the thing. So it is very important that you need to read this article and understand how the articles are written by, let's say, intellectuals like former diplomats and all. So with this, we'll talk about another topic. This topic was also there in Hindu newspaper in editorial section itself. This topic is also important for GS paper 2 under international relations. It is important for the prelims exam and also for the mains exam. Okay, why? Because this particular article directly concerns India. Okay, this particular article directly concerns India. That article also concerns India because Indian citizens were involved there. But this article talks about Indian foreign policy. It talks about various dynamics related to foreign policy, means maintaining let's say power relations with other countries, and also at the same time once we discuss this article, I will tell you about some of the nuclear agreements that government of India has signed with the United States of America. Okay, so if we talk about the relevance of this particular topic, it is related to this bilateral, regional and global groupings and agreements involving India and or affecting India's interest. Then effect of policies and politics of developed and developing countries on India's interest, India's diaspora. Okay, so this is the, let's say, syllabus pointer from the mains perspective, and this topic is important under international relation, current affairs topic for prelims and mains. So let's discuss about this particular thing. Now, the heading itself may seem to be very difficult for you to understand, but if I talk about these keywords sobriety, euphoria, okay, sobriety after euphoria of the US state visit, we need to understand what does these words mean. Okay, for that I'll quickly take you to my notebook here. So if I talk about euphoria, what does the word euphoria means? It means extreme excitement. Okay, I'm just writing extreme excitement or happiness. Okay. Then if I talk about sobriety, what does the word mean? Sobriety means simply no effect. Let's say, like, if you drink alcohol, even after drinking alcohol, like if you are not, let's say, like if you are not under any kind of those effects of alcohol, that means like it does not have any effect like that. So these two words are contradictory to one another. Contradictory in the sense they can be considered as opposite to one another. Euphoria means like you are extremely happy, you are extremely excited about something. Then sobriety means like you have no effect, right? You have no effect of something. Now if I talk about this particular article, it says sobriety after euphoria of the US state visit. So recently what has happened? The Prime Minister of India, Mr. Narendra Modi, he has visited the United States of America. After visiting the United States of America, he has met the President of USA, Mr. Joe Biden. Okay, means like whenever the head of a state visits another country, so according to the protocol, same level of officials should meet the, should meet the first country's officials. For example, in case of India, the Prime Minister of India is the, is the, let's say, de facto head of a state, okay, de facto head of a state. If he visits the United States of America, he is going to meet the President of the United States of America. To maintain that balance, okay, means like, if Prime Minister of India is going there and like only some of the leaders, like, not the President meets, so like it's a kind of breaking the protocol. So in foreign policy matters, so there are certain standard protocols that are developed. So recently the Prime Minister of India has visited, and like, there has been a hue and cry. I mean, like, it has been boasted upon hugely that, like, the Prime Minister of India has visited United States of America, and they are going to sign this deal, that deal, which is going to bring lot of, let's say, which is going to bring like lot of good things for India, which is going to be beneficial in a longer run. So there has been a euphoria, means extreme excitement and happiness about visit of the Prime Minister of India to the United States of America. But at the same time, this author, I mean, like, he has been a former director of the Intelligence Bureau, and he's been former National Security Advisor, and he has been Governor of West Bengal. I mean, like, very highly reputed and intellectual person has written this article. So he has said, like, initially there was hue and cry, there was extreme excitement about Prime Minister visit, but after that now we have sobriety. Now there is no effect of that particular thing. So this is like, I just explained the heading. Now we will understand about the content of this particular editorial. We are going to understand about the content. So here this author has not only highlighted about the Prime Minister Modi's visit to USA, but he has also highlighted about visit of all previous Prime Ministers of India. All means like most of the Prime Ministers, including Jawaharlal Nehru, including, let's say, Prime Minister Indira Gandhi, then Rajiv Gandhi, visit of Mr. Manmohan Singh, and also visit of Mr. Like Modi. I mean, like, he has compared the state visit of the head of states from India to the United States of America. And he has also talked about, like, which visit has given what kind of results for India. Okay. So he has done a comparative analysis about the visit of the head of states from India to the United States of America, and also he has talked about like how personal bonhomie means personal chemistry between the head of states plays role. Okay, he has talked about this particular thing, because many a times what has happened in the past also, like this person mentions that in the past also, when the Prime Minister Manmohan Singh has visited the United States of America, that time it was Mr. Barack Obama. Okay, Barack Obama was the president of USA. So I mean, they had a very deep, what we say, like chemistry between them, like they could understand one another. And Barack Obama has paid great respect to the Prime Minister Manmohan Singh. He like in fact mentioned him as his guru, right? In the article he's he mentions that like, Mr. Obama has mentioned that you are my guru. To whom? To Prime Minister Manmohan Singh. Okay, he has mentioned this particular thing. Now he talks about that like, although things may be boasted upon, but the actual results of visit will be available only after some time when we start seeing what is the effect of the visit of head of state. Now here he talked about some of the like Indian visits then and now, means like earlier what has happened, now what has happened. I have already explained about it. Now he has also mentioned about very important things. He has mentioned about the civil nuclear deal marked a shift. I mean like, civil nuclear deal means a kind of agreement between United States of America and India. In that particular agreement, like, I am going to talk about that agreement in detail with you, because like, that's a very important agreement between these two countries. Okay, so here like if I talk about India and if I talk about United States of America, these two countries are sharing great relationship between one another at this point of time. But there was a time in India, like, in 1974, I guess, where we have conducted an operation which is known as Operation Smiling Buddha. Okay, Operation Smiling. We have conducted an operation which is known as Operation Smiling Buddha. What is Operation Smiling Buddha? This was a nuclear test that was conducted by India. Why did India conduct a nuclear test? Because India wanted to be a nuclear capable state, means a state that has nuclear weapons. Okay, India wanted to become a nuclear weapon state. For that, like, we have conducted Operation Smiling Buddha for doing nuclear test. Okay, we have done nuclear test, and through this particular operation, I mean like, we have conducted it successfully, and afterwards we have declared that India is now a nuclear weapon state. Now we have nuclear weapons. But this particular thing was not easy for India. Why it was not easy? Because many countries were opposing India for being a nuclear weapon state. Okay, so many countries did not want India to become a nuclear weapon state. And in fact, there are multiple groupings, international groupings, that are stopping new countries to become nuclear weapon state, because like you have nuclear suppliers group, you have nuclear non-proliferation treaty, you have many other, we have Wassenaar agreement on dual use technology, we have many such nuclear pacts, we have Australia group. Okay, so we have many things like they are pushing the world towards a nuclear weapon free state. But those countries who have already acquired nuclear weapons, who are already nuclear weapon states, they do not want to give up on their nuclear weapons. These countries do not want to give up their nuclear weapons, so that's why they are protecting their nuclear weapons, and in fact many of the countries are proliferating their weapons. They are increasing their nuclear arsenal. Okay, so that time in 1974, I guess, right, we have conducted Operation Smiling Buddha. This was a nuclear test that India has conducted, and just after the test, like India was banned from many places. Many countries have banned India in many fronts, because like those countries wanted to put sanctions over India, and initially United States of America was one of the first country to put a sanction on India, right? That time it was very difficult for a prime minister from India, let's say like to go to the United States of America to build relations, to bring things back. And if I talk about the role of Prime Minister Manmohan Singh, he was a person like who was able to bring some kind of truce between these two countries. I mean like that time many powers in USA, they were totally opposing any kind of, let's say like good relation with India. But like because of personal chemistry, personal bonhomie between the leaders of both the country, like Barack Obama on one side, then if I talk about Prime Minister Manmohan Singh on the other side. I mean like there have been many prime ministers. So the thing is like personal bonhomie played a great role, and India has signed a civil nuclear agreement with the United States of America. That civil nuclear agreement is known as 123 agreement. Okay, 123 agreement. What do we mean by 123 agreement? This is the name of the agreement, 123 agreement. Under this particular agreement, means this agreement was signed by India and USA. This was an agreement between India and USA. It is a bilateral agreement. Okay, it was a bilateral agreement between these two countries. Okay, it was a bilateral agreement between these two countries. What were the terms of reference for these two countries? If I talk about 123 agreement, in this agreement they have mentioned that from now onward, like India will not go for nuclear proliferation, and also like if India has conducted Operation Smiling Buddha, I mean like although India is a nuclear capable state, but you might be knowing that nuclear technology is a dual use technology. What is nuclear technology? Nuclear technology is a dual use technology. So I'll just make you understand that thing. Now, if I talk about nuclear technology, it is a dual use technology. What do we mean by dual use technology? Dual use technology means nuclear power can be used, like nuclear thing can be used for two purposes. One of the purpose can be for civilian use. Okay, civilian use. What can be the civilian use of nuclear thing? For generation of nuclear power. Let's say like we have nuclear power stations, and from those stations we generate power, right? We generate power. Power means like electricity. For generation of electricity we do. Then we can have military use also. Okay, we can have military use also. Why do we use military use? For let's say nuclear weapons. Okay, for making nuclear weapons, like nuclear weapons can be used for military purposes. Okay, military purposes. So what is dual use technology? A kind of technology that can be used for civilian purposes and as well as for military purposes. All right. So nuclear technology can be used for both the things. And since India was a nuclear weapon state, nuclear capable state, many countries did not want to do any trade in nuclear thing with India. And you might be knowing the same fuel that we use in nuclear power stations, if we enrich that fuel beyond a level, okay, if we enrich that fuel beyond a level, that fuel can be used for nuclear weapons also. Means the same ingredient, same thing can be used for civil purposes, for military purposes as well. So that 123 agreement that was signed between United States of India, America and India, these two countries have signed that like India will allow its nuclear power stations, nuclear power facilities to be inspected by International Atomic Energy Agency. Okay, so let's talk about that body also. Now, so what is IAEA? International Atomic Energy Agency is an intergovernmental organization. What is this? It is an intergovernmental organization. What is an intergovernmental organization? An intergovernmental organization is an organization where its members are governments of different countries. Okay, its members are sovereign countries. Okay, for example, IAEA can have member like India, it can have members like United States of America, so on and so forth. Okay, means governments of different countries are members of this particular body. What is the mandate of International Atomic Energy Agency? This International Atomic Energy Agency is mandated to conduct inspection on nuclear facilities in many countries. Okay, so that like it can ascertain that a country is not going for nuclear proliferation. Why? Because like many countries have signed those pacts, nuclear non-proliferation treaty and so on. So as per 123 agreement, India has agreed that it will allow International Atomic Energy Agency to conduct inspection in our nuclear power stations to ascertain that we are not proliferating those nuclear fuels for making weapons. and at the same time the United States of America has agreed, to transfer some of the technologies to India for civilian purposes only. Okay, so that was the 123 agreement for nuclear thing. So this is a very important agreement where the author has mentioned that although India was sanctioned by United States of America, but still because of personal bonhomie, going against many powers, then the president of USA has decided. Okay, so this 123 agreement was signed between USA and India in 2008, and this will go on till 2048. It is for 40 years, and every 10 years this particular agreement is going to be renewed, okay, after due considerations and many things. So this article talks about role of the head of states in getting things done through bilateral ties and agreements. Okay, so it also says, in this article the author also says that USA is a very unpredictable friend and enemy, in the sense that USA can take any stand at any point of time. You cannot rely on United States of America for any predictable behavior. Means today it can be on your side, tomorrow it can be against you, because there has been historically many instances where United States of America was against India, in cases where India was fighting war with China. That time also USA was not there with with India, and also there have been instances where tussle was happening between India and Pakistan, when in 1971 the East Pakistan got liberated from the West Pakistan. It became a new state, new country, which is known as Bangladesh. That time you might be knowing that India has sent Shanti Bahini, right, to Bangladesh, so that they could help the people internally to liberate themselves. And that time United States of America has sent their submarines, they have sent their weapons in the Bay of Bengal region. Why? They wanted to deter India. They wanted to deter India, against anything against Pakistan. So there have been situations where USA was against India. There have been situations where India was towards India. USA was a friend of India. So here the author is saying that United States of America is a very unpredictable friend. So as of now, USA is pushing India. USA is let's say nudging India to join one or other alliance. For example, earlier also we talked about NATO plus. On Tuesday when we discussed, we talked about NATO plus. NATO plus includes North Atlantic Treaty Organization, 31 member countries plus 5 other allies of the United States of America. So USA was, let's say, nudging India to join the NATO plus thing also. And then USA led AUKUS group is there, AUKUS, okay. AUKUS stands for Australia, United Kingdom and United States of America. Okay, so AUKUS means it's a different pact, and India cannot be a member of AUKUS because they have a different objective altogether that does not align with the objectives of India. Apart from this, we also have Quad grouping. Quad means quadrilateral security dialogue. Okay, Quad means so in this article itself the author has mentioned, right, about Quad grouping, quadrilateral security dialogue. It's a grouping where India is a member. India is there, USA is there, Australia is there, okay, Australia is there, I think, and Japan is there. Okay, there are 4 countries who are members of this. So here the author has mentioned that if we talk about Quad, India, Japan, Australia and USA, okay. So although India is a member of Quad, quadrilateral security dialogue, but India cannot join AUKUS because AUKUS has a different objective altogether. So this particular author is highlighting 2-3 things. One is the importance of visit of the head of states and personal bonhomie related thing. They have talked about historical ties between these 2 countries, India and United States of America. How the dynamics has shifted from time to time between these 2 countries. And at the same time the author let's say, cautions India against taking any, let's say, like, any step in hurry. Means like it should be thoughtful, it should be, let's say, like thinking in advance before taking any decision, in that manner. So that's all about this article. I hope this article, you might have understood the things really well. So with this, we will take another article for discussion. So this is a very important article for international relations. It talks about, bilateral relations between India and USA. Now, let's discuss about another topic. This is the third article for the day. There are eight topics that we are going to discuss. This talks about Jammu and Kashmir administration hardens its stand on land to landless scheme. Now, what is land to landless scheme? You might be knowing, let us go little back, few years back, when the central government of India has abrogated Article 370 of the Constitution of India. Earlier, Article 370 has given some powers, right, to the state of Jammu and Kashmir. So, Jammu and Kashmir was a state and it had its own constitution. Okay, they had separate rights, separate powers. But with the abrogation of Article 370, what has happened? The central government has taken away all the special rights, special privileges that were earlier extended, right, to the state of Jammu and Kashmir. And later on, this state was, let's say, like divided, bifurcated into the Union Territory of Jammu and Kashmir and the Union Territory of Ladakh. Now, if we talk about Union Territory of Jammu and Kashmir, this Union Territory of Jammu and Kashmir has a legislature. Means like, they will be having a law-making body also. That Jammu and Kashmir will be having a legislature, but Union Territory of Ladakh does not have it, right? You might be knowing that Delhi is also a union territory. It does have a legislature. It does have an elected government. Similarly, the Union Territory of Jammu and Kashmir does have a legislature. It does have a government. Now, what has happened that since the abrogation of Article 370, many regional leaders, that includes Mehbooba Mufti, Omar Abdullah, and many other such, ministers, they are regional, let's say, political parties, political leaders. So they have been against abrogation of Article 370. And since then, they have been fighting in the Supreme Court of India and in different courts, right, in India against the abrogation of Article 370. But now what has happened, the government of India has thought of extending one thing which is known as Pradhan Mantri Awas Yojana, okay, Pradhan Mantri Awas Yojana Gramin. So government of India has a housing scheme which is known as Pradhan Mantri Awas Yojana Gramin. Through this scheme, the government of India, let's say, wants to assist all those households who who do not have land, who do not have houses, right? By assisting them, the government wants that they should be having houses. So this scheme has been implemented across India, in all states and union territories, but it has not yet been implemented in the Union Territory of Jammu and Kashmir, right? So now the Lieutenant Governor of Jammu and Kashmir, Mr. Manoj Sinha, Lieutenant Governor means he is appointed by the central government, right? He is appointed by the central government in the Union Territory of Jammu and Kashmir. So he is pushing means he is nudging for the implementation of land to landless. What do we mean by this? Means government of India is going to bring a legislation over there where they are going to give, land or houses to people who were landless, who were houseless earlier. And the regional players, regional parties, they are opposing this. Why they are opposing? They are saying that the central government wants to change the demography of the Union Territory. They want to change the demography, and now they want to settle the outsiders in the Union Territory of Jammu and Kashmir. Okay, so they say that the government is pushing towards changing the demography, and they are trying to make Jammu and Kashmir as a hub for slums. So there are many statements given by many regional leaders against this particular thing, but the governor, Lieutenant Governor over there, is pushing the agenda of the central government in implementing land to landless scheme over there. Okay, so this topic is important under, let's say current affairs. You need to be knowing about it. What do we mean by land to the landless scheme? It means Pradhan Mantri Awas Yojana. So Pradhan Mantri Awas Yojana has two components: Pradhan Mantri Awas Yojana Gramin, Pradhan Mantri Awas Yojana for Shahri, or means for towns. So it has Gramin and it has two components. So they want to implement Pradhan Mantri Awas Yojana Gramin over there, and the regional players, regional leaders, I mean they are saying that government should be transparent and they should share data like whom they are allocating houses. Because if you are not transparent, then in that case there will be some kind of, let's say, speculation among people that how the government is implementing, what is the exact, let's say, agenda of the government. Okay, so they are unsure about it. So this is all about this article. So with this we will move to the next topic now. Now let's discuss about this topic. This is again a very important topic for you. So it is important under current affairs section, where we are going to talk about government rules for the IT sector, and the topic would be regulatory authorities. Okay, we are going to understand about the Telecom Regulatory Authority of India. TRAI stands for Telecom Regulatory Authority of India. Telecom Regulatory Authority of India. So this is the full form of TRAI. So you might be knowing that Reserve Bank of India is a regulator of banks in India. Okay, whether it is private bank, government bank, or let's say NBFCs. So it regulates the banking channel. Similarly, the Telecom Regulatory Authority of India is a regulatory authority that regulates the telecom companies, that regulates the telecom sector. Okay, not only companies but telecom sector in India. That involves companies, various stakeholders, various apps, lot of things it regulates that. So recently the TRAI has notified that selective ban of messaging apps may be looked at. Means now we can see the possibility of banning some of the messaging apps selectively. But this recent notification by TRAI, this notification goes against its previous decision. It has previously taken a decision where it has so the body has sought inputs on bringing apps like WhatsApp under licensing framework that comes as a turning point, as it has recommended against the regulation of such apps in 2020. Means in the year 2020, the Telecom Regulatory Authority of India has told that we are not going to ban any app selectively. But now after 3 years, on third year, they have talked about that we can go for selective banning, selectively banning some of the applications. So now we will understand about some of the dynamics that is associated with this. Now if we talk about there are certain things that I will explain. One thing is OTT. OTT stands for over the top platforms. Over the top platforms means those platforms that are little different from the conventional mechanism. For example, earlier we used to go to cinema halls to watch movies, but these movies are nowadays being released through OTT platforms like Netflix, or let's say there are certain many other platforms similar to that. Okay, they're being released over there. Earlier we were making voice phone calls, but nowadays phone calls can be made through internet also. Using WhatsApp you can make phone call, you can drop messages. Earlier it needed some kind of other mechanism. Okay, but these WhatsApp, I think the WhatsApp it is also a part of OTT. Now what is happening, you can make calls through WhatsApp, you can share messages through WhatsApp. Now what they want to do, Government of India wants to regulate the OTT platforms also. Okay, actually it has started regulating it, but the Telecom Regulatory Authority of India, it says there are some incidences where what we do is we shut down the internet in a place. Why? To maintain law and order. For example, let's say like, in 2020, right, in 2020, and like while the government of India was abrogating Article 370, they have, shut down the internet in those, that area, so that like, militancy cannot spread. And recently violence has been happening in Manipur. So government of India has shut down internet in many places where violence was happening, okay. So it does take this action, and like it is a lawful action that is taken by the government, and it does have some legal backing also for the government. But government cannot go for prolonged, let's say like, for longer time, let's say like in internet shutdown. So here the Telecom Regulatory Authority of India is of the opinion that like, in those areas where like we do internet shutdown, we can also go for, let's say, selective banning of applications. And not only Telecom Regulatory Authority of India, there are many other bodies also that are involved in this particular process. We have like, Ministry of Electronics and Information Technology, which is in short known as MEITY, okay, M-E-I-T-Y, Ministry of Electronics and Information Technology. So this is one of the ministry that actually like, looks into this particular affair. Then Ministry of, so now here in this article they are saying that like, TRAI is trying to overturn its own decision, and at the same time the like selective banning, is it against the concept of net neutrality? There is a concept you might be knowing, it is known as net neutrality, okay. Now people are criticizing the step of, let's say like, TRAI in let's say thinking of going for selective banning, because net neutrality, this particular concept, it says that internet should be neutral. Neither the internet service providers nor, let's say like, nor any authority, nor telecom service providers, okay, not telecom service provider should give preferential treatment to some apps and discriminate against other apps, okay. So net neutrality is a concept whereby like, internet should be free and open to all people, in the sense that like, we as a user, we can access any publicly available website like, easily, and there should not be preferential treatment by internet service providers that like, let's say like they are giving more speed to when you access one kind of platform, and they are giving less speed when you are accessing other kind of platform. So that should not happen, okay. Net neutrality is a concept that talks about that all the platforms that are available online, whether it is Netflix, whether it is, let's say, some other platform, they should be equally accessible to everyone, okay. Not only OTT platforms, means like everything should be equally accessible without any kind of preferential treatment. Like there can be multiple consideration by these companies. Let's say like, if I talk about Jio, so Jio has its own application, that is entertainment application, Jio Cinema. So if Jio has to decide, let's say like, whether we want to give equal access to Netflix, so Jio will necessarily like, intentionally what it will do, it will allow users to access Jio Cinema much easily with more speed, and it will reduce the speed of Netflix or let's say other providers. So that is prohibited against the that is prohibited under the concept of net neutrality. And Supreme Court of India has earlier given a verdict, for upholding net neutrality concept in India. So here this article is pondering upon, right, the stand of the Telecom Regulatory Authority of India, whether it is legal or not legal. Once they allow it, will it be challenged in a court of law or not, okay. So these are the things. So with this, like, you need to read this article to understand little more. So with this, like, we will move to the next topic. Let's move to the next topic quickly. This is another topic. It says words like fake, false, misleading in IT rules problematic, okay. So what has happened recently, the Bombay High Court has expressed concerns about the authority conferred on fact checking unit. So now if I talk about what is this all about, there are 2-3 things that we are going to discuss in detail, okay. One thing is the central government, Okay, one of the stakeholder in this case is central government. Okay, one of the stakeholder in this case. Second is like people. Then we are going to discuss about one unit that is known as fact checking unit. Okay, Then we are going to discuss about another very important thing, which is IT, Information Technology Intermediary Guidelines, and Digital Media Ethics Code, and Digital Media Ethics Code 2023, Amendment Rules 2023. Okay. So let's discuss about this topic. So recently what has happened, the High Court of Bombay High Court has expressed concerns about the authority that was conferred upon the fact checking unit by the central government. What has happened? The central government has done some amendment to the IT rules. This particular amendment has been named as Information Technology Intermediary Guidelines and Digital Media Ethics Code 2023. So earlier government had notified this, and government has again amended this. They have done some modification into the IT rules, and after amending, the government of India has established something which is known as fact checking unit. Government of India, the central government has established fact checking unit, and central government has given authority to this particular body to flag some online content, to flag some online video, online, let's say, like some articles, and label them as fake, false and misleading. And after then they can, the fact checking unit may write an email. They can, let's say, notify that particular platform, whether let's say it's WhatsApp, it's let's say like Google, it can be any other platform where news things are being shared. So they can flag something which is available online as fake, false and misleading, and then they may ask that particular body, that particular company, to remove that particular content. So here the Bombay High Court has expressed concern. It has said that the authority that was conferred upon the fact checking unit by the central government, this is problematic. Why? Because the keywords like fake, false, misleading, these are very subjective in nature. These are very subjective. For example, let's say there is a political item, there is a political news that is there. For one person it may be a right news, for other person he will say it is misleading. So it is a very subjective thing, and giving authority to fact checking unit is not right. So the High Court has expressed concern over it, because there are some of the things, for example, this may be against the fundamental rights. We have the right to freely express our ideas through, let's say, words, in writing and in different ways, right? So we have the freedom of speech and expression. So giving this particular authority to fact checking unit may be against the freedom of speech and expression, right? It is against fundamental right. So the High Court may be thinking that this particular thing may be against the fundamental rights also. All right. So I mean, only this particular news item was there. I mean, they have not given any detailed explanation about it, but the High Court has taken a stand that the authority that was conferred upon the fact checking unit by the central government, this is problematic, because these keywords are very subjective in nature. It can be interpreted in any manner, or let's say any article that is there in the news, the fact checking unit may interpret it in any manner. And the High Court has categorically mentioned that they do not know, they have mentioned that we don't know the business of the central government. We don't know what the central government is doing in this, right? So this is what the High Court, Bombay High Court has said. Okay. So this is all like in this article. I mean, like, here we have discussed about the IT rules, right? IT rules which was amended by the Government of India, and we have discussed about the fact checking unit and the let's say stand of the High Court in this case. And apart from this, we are going to discuss about another topic quickly. Now, this is another article. It says SEBI amends rules to avoid multiple filings by debt issuers. Okay, SEBI. So what is SEBI? SEBI is a regulatory authority. It is a regulatory authority. Okay. SEBI stands for Securities and Exchange Board of India. The name of the body is Securities and Exchange Board of India. It is a regulatory authority that regulates the secondary market in India. Okay. It has many other work also, but what it does, it regulates the secondary markets. Okay. Secondary market, I mean, like, that involves, let's say secondary market involves the National Stock Exchange, the Bombay Stock Exchange. These are the platforms. And if we talk about this particular article, in this article, they have talked about debt issuers. Okay, debt issuers. Who are debt issuers? Like, so issuers of debt securities. Who are issuers of debt securities? We need to understand this thing. Central government, state government, union territories, right? And let's say municipal corporations. They are issuers of debt securities. Means like they can issue debt securities. For example, you might have heard about bond papers, okay? Government bonds. You might have heard about government bonds. You might have heard about treasury bills. So these are some of the, let's say, examples of debt securities. So these debt securities are issued by, the bodies, let's say, like that are backed by state, central government, union territories, municipal corporation, etc. They can issue these bonds, debt securities in secondary market. They can issue these things in secondary market, and after issuing, those people who purchase these government bonds, they give their money to the government, and government will be, let's say, like giving them profit in the form of interest or in other forms. Okay, they will be giving benefit to the people who are purchasing these debt securities. All right. So now this SEBI, Securities and Exchange Board of India, which is a regulatory authority for the secondary market, they have, let's say, like, amended some rules. They have amended rules to avoid multiple filings by debt issuers, okay, to avoid multiple filings by debt issuers. So generally what happens, the debt issuers, let's say municipal corporation, I'm just writing municipal corporation, they get themselves listed with let's say NSE, BSE, or let's say corporate companies also, let's say, like, they get themselves listed. Why they get themselves listed? To issue some kind of bonds, to issue securities, to issue, let's say, like equities into the secondary market. Why? So that they can raise money. Okay, and so what they do, they like, do it, they issue it in the first instance, then again they can issue it follow up as well. So the SEBI has amended rule that, like, those entities who want to issue debt securities, what they have to do, they have to do just two things. One is this particular thing, general information document. They need to file general information document with the secondary market, let's say NSE or BSE, when they are issuing the debt securities for the first time. When they are issuing the debt securities for the first time, they have to, file general information document to the NSE or BSE. Okay, will contain, and it will contain disclosure specified in the common schedule and will be filed with the stock exchanges at the time of the first issuance. When they are issuing some debt securities for the first time, they will be sharing general information document with the secondary market, let's say NSE or BSE. But after then this GID will have a validity period of 1 year. Okay, it will have a validity period of 1 year, and thereafter, after that, right, the subsequent private placements of non-convertible securities or commercial papers within the validity period, only a key information document will be required. Okay, now they have talked about general information document, they have talked about key information document. Okay, they have talked about two kinds of documents. Okay, what are the documents that they talked about? They talked about that these entities will first of all, they'll issue general information document that will have a validity of 1 year, and this will be issued in the first instance itself. After then, within the validity period, if they want to, let's say, raise additional funds through issuing debt securities, in that case they will they will file key information document. Okay, key information document with the secondary market players like NSE, BSE, etc. Okay, so this is all in this article. They have just talked about some amendment in the rules by the regulator of the stock market in India, the Securities and Exchange Board of India. Okay, hope this was clear to you. I mean, people who are reading the newspaper regularly, they'll be able to connect with me, they'll be able to understand it easily, and other people may struggle in the beginning, but once you attend the discussions regularly, you will be able to understand these things. Okay, because these articles are not intended only for UPSC people while they are writing, but we as UPSC aspirants, we need to identify which articles are important for us, and accordingly we need to read them, right? So again, this is another article. This is related to PM Gati Shakti data. Government of India has a scheme which is known as Pradhan Mantri Gati Shakti Yojana. Okay, Pradhan Mantri Gati Shakti Yojana, and for this, Government of India has a portal also. Okay, portal means a kind of website, and through this portal they want to release geospatial data. Okay, they want to release geospatial data, and these geospatial data can be accessed by investors, okay, and other stakeholders outside government. I mean, it can be accessed by government also, but now government wants to release the data to investors and other stakeholders. Why they want to do it? Because government wants to raise money out of it, and at the same time, now within the government itself, people are speculative that what kind of data will be shared with people who are outside government, right? What kind of data? It is still not clear about the kind of data that they want to share. The government is still into the thinking process of it, that what data can be shared and how it can benefit in, let's say, in making India grow, okay, to become a self-reliant nation. Okay, we want to grow, we want to, let's say, create infrastructure projects for highways, for highways, roadways, railways, etc. Right? And for that purpose, they want to release geospatial data for the private players and investors. Okay, so still the thinking process is going on, and this includes many government ministries as well, like Ministry of Information and Electronics and Information and Technology, and then there is Department for Promotion of Industry and Internal Trade. I mean, many departments, ministries, they are coordinating with one another, and they are thinking which data is to be shared. But recently government has notified that they are planning to release geospatial data. Okay, so industry and potential investors will have access to infrastructure data. Okay, industry and potential investors will have access to infrastructure data captured on the PM Gati Shakti platform according to a top government official. Data sharing to be compatible with the policies of the Science and Electronics and IT ministries. So we do have a Ministry of Science and Technology, then we have Ministry of Electronics and Information Technology, right? So these are the things. Now government is in the consultation process. This information was received from a government official and they have released this particular thing. I mean, like, you know, in the news. So with this, like, we will move to the next topic. Again, let us discuss about this topic. It says almost half of the workers in India do not feel secure in jobs. Okay, so this is a statement. It says almost half of the workers, people like us, like people who are working in different places, so half of the people do not feel secure at workplace. They do not feel secure in jobs because, like, you know, nowadays, and there are many concerns related to it. Okay, so how do we get this particular information, right? So this information was there in one of the report. The name of the report is known as People at Work 2020, a global workforce view. Okay, People at Work is the name of the report. So I have just highlighted this report over here in the screen if it is visible. See it. It says People at Work 2020, a global workforce view. This is the name of the report that was recently released, and this report talks about India's workforce, people who are working in India. They talk about that 47% of Indian workers are feeling unsafe, unsecure in job. Okay, they are feeling that, like, you know, their job is not stable, and globally half of the people, half of the workforce feel the same. They also feel insecure in job. Okay, they also feel insecure or not secure at job. Okay, so this particular report was released by an organization which is known as ADP Research Institute. Okay, so according to ADP Research Institute, 47% workforce in India do not feel safe at work. Then globally 50% of the workforce do not feel safe at workplace. And there are many reasons for it. One of the reasons that they said is that, like, with the advent, like, you know, with the artificial intelligence coming in place, many people are thinking that they will be out of job very soon. Many people have this notion among themselves. And also, like, you know, the job insecurity is increasing day by day because many multinational companies have fired huge number of people, right? So that is known as layoff. In technical terms, it is known as layoff. They have laid off huge number of people by citing one or other reason. And these include those companies, let's say Google, Amazon, Microsoft. One of the big companies, they have, like, laid off huge number of people, right? So this is the thing. Now, just, like, you know, you need to remember the name of the report. You need to remember the name of the organization that is releasing that report, because many a times in UPSC Prelims exam they give the name of the report and they ask about which organization has released it. So factually you need to remember this particular information. And here, like, you know, this particular PDF will be uploaded in the description of the YouTube video. From the description you can download this particular PDF and you can read these articles yourself as well after watching the discussion. So with this, like, you know, let us talk about another topic quickly. So I think, like, I have covered all the 8 topics today. Okay, so we discussed all these 8 topics one by one. I hope you liked the lecture, and you can download the PDF from the description. If you have any questions, you can drop a message right in the comment section itself. Like, I would encourage you to like and subscribe to our channel, and if you need any help, you can always reach out to us. Thank you so much everyone for attending this video. I hope you have a great day ahead. Thank you.